everyone, today I'm going to be telling you about the top 5 books that I could not put down. These are books I absolutely love and would love to reread soon as well. I don't know whether I'll get around to that or not just yet, but we'll see. I might do, you never know. All of the books on this list I did give a 5 stars, of course. I absolutely obsess over these books. There are some authors you're going to be like, yeah Hannah, we know you like this author, it's fine. You don't need to keep telling me, but I need to. I can't help it, I'm sorry. Anyway, without rambling anymore, the first book on my list is Billy and Me by Giovanna Fletcher. I really like Giovanna's writing, I really like her books. I've read all of her books now as well, so novellas, and I thoroughly enjoy them. I'm also super excited for another Billy and Me story coming out soon. I don't know how soon, but hopefully soon enough. This is about a girl called Sophie who works in a coffee shop with the owner called Molly. Molly is fantastic, I love her, she is so sweet. And Sophie's life is very, very quiet. She really likes her life. She just has her own little group of people she talks to in the coffee shop, and that's about it, but she enjoys it and she really likes talking to the customers she gets in the coffee shop as well. Then one day she meets a guy called Billy Buskin, and them two end up getting a little bit close. Starts off as friendship, of course, but then they do end up getting a bit closer together. Sophie then finds out that Billy is actually famous and she didn't realise, and so of course the media is going crazy. And this book is basically just about how Sophie copes with her life with Billy as well as the coffee shop, because she has 2 completely different lives now. She's been thrown out of her life in the coffee shop a little bit because she's now been thrown into the life with Billy and fame and the media, the paparazzi and all that lot of stuff. This is a really cutesy, like, cup of tea and blankets read. It is just perfect for that type of read. I could read this at any time of the year, to be honest. It doesn't really matter, it's just such a cozy read. I really, really like the characters throughout this book. Every single character I absolutely love. And I really like the family elements as well, like Sophie and her kind of little family, even though it's not necessarily related family, she still classes people as family, like Molly in the coffee shop, and it's just very, very sweet. And I really like the cozy locations that Giovanna's written, because it is just so perfectly written, you can picture everything, and I would love to go to these places. It's another one I really wish was real, because they're just so sweet. I really want to go to the coffee shop, and I really want to meet Molly, to be honest. She's a very sweet lady. The second book on this list is Safe Haven by Nicholas Sparks. I've read tons of Nicholas Sparks books, like a ridiculous amount. I don't know whether you can see them behind me, but I've got quite a few on my shelf along here. I've just hit my elbow. Ow. This is also contemporary, and this is about a girl called Erin who is trying to escape from her violent boyfriend Kevin. And Erin runs away and she changes her identity completely. She's now known as Katie, and she ends up in this little town and she ends up living there, and she has a neighbour called Joe as well, and she really gets along with Joe. As well as that, she also meets a guy called Alex who works in the shop, and he has 2 kids as well, a little girl and a little boy, and they're just really young. Katie and Alex end up getting friendly, they make friends, and Katie really gets along with the 2 kids as well, and they start seeing her as kind of a motherly figure as they no longer have their mother. So Katie and Alex and the 2 kids kind of start a family unit, sort of. It doesn't happen straight away, I made that sound really quick, it's not like a quick thing, but it does, you know, that kind of thing does happen. But then, of course, Kevin, the violent boyfriend, goes out to try and find it. Kevin's also a policeman, so he knows how to get around things. The ending to this story is just insane. That was the main bit that I couldn't put down. Like, the whole, like, probably like at least that much of the book I just flew through. I really could not put this book down at all. It was insanely good. I then went and picked up the film as well, and the film was really good throughout, and then the ending, it was slightly tweaked and it annoyed me a little bit. It's still a good ending on the film, it just annoyed me a little bit because I was so into the ending of the book. It does kind of stick to the same thing, like it is roughly the same thing, but there's just little things that changed and it really annoyed me. But the book, however, I really, really love, and I could not put it down. Of course, I didn't like all of the characters in this book. Kevin was horrendous. He was the most vile person I think I've ever read about. Like, I've read quite a lot of horrible characters, but he has to be one of the main, like, vile characters I've ever read about. However, he was written in such a brilliant way that you couldn't help but feel this hatred towards him, and I think that's what kind of made me read on, because I wanted to find out whether he got what was coming for him and stuff like that. It was just a really intense read, and I definitely recommend picking this one up. The third book on the list is, of course, The Distant Hours by Kate Morton. She had to be on the list, you just know this. She's in most of my videos and I need to stop talking about her. But I'm not going to just yet, because I really like her writing. And the locations, and the characters, and the storylines. Yeah, just everything. They're just fantastic. So this is a book about a girl called Edith, and she really doesn't get along with her mother that well. They don't completely hate each other, it's just they don't really get along either. And one day Edith's mother gets a letter through the door and she reacts in a really strange way, and Edith wants to find out why. So she goes on a bit of a mission to find out why her mum has reacted in this kind of way. She starts piecing together clues, and this ends up leading her to Middlehurst Castle, where she meets the Sisters Blythe, which are three sisters that her mother knew from when she was a child. Then Edith starts unravelling family mysteries and secrets that her mother has kept from her, and it all just pieces together really, really nicely at the end. I really like how Kate Morton writes from different time zones. So like it'll go from Edith's time zone to a mother's childhood, that kind of thing. I also, of course, absolutely adore the locations Kate Morton writes. I can picture them perfectly. This is definitely my favourite Kate Morton book, I think, as of at the minute. It could change, but as of at the minute, this is definitely my favourite one. I really like the eeriness of Middlehurst Castle and how kind of mysterious it was. It's a lot more darker than the usual kind of countryside house Kate Morton tends to write about, but this was much more like grand and a bit creepy, but it doesn't scare you, it's just a little bit mysterious, really. That's the best way I can put it. The characters I really, really loved. Again, I think Juniper, which is one of the Sisters Blythe, was fantastic. She was so different compared to the other two sisters, so that really made her stand out. She was a bit weird, but she was really amazing to read about, and she was written very, very well. And overall, it just kept you gripped throughout the whole story. Like, there wasn't a bit where I got bored. There was always some kind of secret just hidden around the corner, and I just had to keep on reading. It is a really big book. Kate Morton writes huge books, but I just fly through them. I absolutely love them. The next book is a much more well-known one, and that is Eleanor Park by Rainbow Rowell. Who doesn't love Eleanor Park? It's just fantastic, isn't it? I love Rainbow Rowell's writing anyway. This is about a girl called Eleanor and a guy called Park, and they meet on the bus, and they're both kind of like misfits. They don't really talk to many people or anything like that. They don't really have any friends. But them two end up sitting together on the bus anyway, and they become friends. They start learning about each other and their interests and how they have similar interests. And as the story develops and we see this friendship develop, they kind of start getting a little bit closer as well, but it's not forced. There's not like, it's not written too quickly or anything like that. It's just a really nice development of this kind of friendship they've got. They do end up sort of having like a relationship and things like that, but it's just so cute. It's not like a horrible, like really soppy romantic thing at all. It's just not like that. They're just really amazing characters. As well as them find out about their interests as well though, they do find out about family secrets that they just sort of keep to themselves. They're not very nice family sort of stories that they tell each other, and these things are still going on, unfortunately. Eleanor and Park are just two of my favourite characters of all time. I absolutely adore them. I cannot get over the ending. Why does Rainbow Rowell do this every single time? There needs to be another Eleanor and Park book. Really bad. Comment below if you agree with that, because I don't know anybody that doesn't, to be honest. I'm pretty sure everyone would say the same thing. But if you disagree, comment that as well, because why not? I'd love to find out why. It just sort of ended, and I was like, where's the next page? Like, I was like, have I got a page missing? Like, I don't understand. I then rang my friend who was at a uni party. She went out of the uni party just to talk to me about this book. I'm not joking, we're that sad. It's not sad, it's just Fangirling. Another Rainbow Rowell one. Getting them all in here. But overall, yeah, I really do adore this book, like I've said a million times. The characters are fantastic. The whole storyline is just so sweet. I love it so much. And the ending had me in tears. And I don't cry easily at books at all. But this ending just destroyed me, to be honest. But I need to read it again. Really bad. And hopefully really soon. If the lighting keeps changing in here, by the way, the sun keeps going in and out and it's really annoying. Just so you're aware. And the final book on this list is, of course, The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Who does not like The Hobbit? To be fair, I was never into The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings or anything like that until about maybe a year and a half ago. So it is quite a new thing for me, but I love The Hobbit so much. This is obviously a fantasy and it's about a hobbit called Bilbo Baggins who ends up going on an adventure with a group of dwarves and the wizard Gandalf as well. He doesn't really want to leave his hobbit hole or Bag End where he lives. He's quite happy there in his quiet little home with no worries. But he ends up going on this adventure anyway to try and claim back what the dwarves have lost. They end up coming across creatures they need to get past. There's fighting, there's action, there's adventure, the locations are amazing. They then come across obviously the dragon who is protecting all the gold and they need to get to that and defeat him. It just goes a bit crazy, but it's fantastic. I love how all the dwarves have their own different personalities. So instead of them all being kind of the same kind of person, they've all got really different personalities and you can see that through the writing. Tolkien's writing is obviously so descriptive as well. He has the most craziest imagination I have ever come across to create this huge world, as well as like languages and all these creatures, these fictional creatures he's created are just absolutely mental. I don't understand how anybody human has an imagination like that, but he has. Bilbo is just so funny as well, like he's so awkward and you can't help but just want to give him a hug. Like he is so awkward, but he's so brilliant. He had me laughing as well, he's so funny. So yeah, basically to conclude, I absolutely adore the writing, the storyline, the locations, the characters, they're all fantastic. If you've not read The Hobbit or seen the films, I would highly recommend. I actually prefer the book to the film. Well, films, because there's 3 of them. Yeah, this was split into 3 films. It's not even that big. I don't think it should have been split into 3 films, to be honest. Again, another one. If you want to have a debate in the comments, that's fine. Go for it. I don't think it should have been split into 3 films, to be honest. A lot was added for the films, which I didn't really think there needed to be honest. There's one story about the Pale Orc, I think it is, that's quite good in the film. I quite enjoy that storyline. But other than that, like, I don't really think there was much else needed. The book is perfect how it is, and I think it should have just been done like the book is, to be honest. Let me know what you think. So that is it for my top 5 books I could not put down. By all means, leave your top 5 books in the comments below. I'd love to find out what they are and maybe I could get some recommendations too. That'd be really cool. As always, all my social media links are in the description below. And if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I will see you all in my next video very soon. Bye!